Good afternoon, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I am back in Oakville, and I can tell you that I had 2 days of travel time, and that was quite a bit of time. And of course, right now in Bali, it would be 12 hours ahead of us here. And it's surprising to me that I'm still awake, but I have to tell you, I am buzzing with new information and new processing of what I have gone through in the last couple of months, maybe last few months. And certainly my time in Bali has been phenomenal. So I want to make sure that I share this with whoever listens to these videos or whoever I speak with in person. It's really important to me that first I process everything that I have experienced and I am still processing. And as I process, I will share with you. But one of the things that comes up in my mind as I'm processing is what is the learning? What is the reason that I was called to Bali? And some of you know that I really feel that I was called to Bali. Bali was not a place that I've ever dreamed of as my vacation destination. It wasn't a place that, and I've definitely dreamed of various vacation destinations and have gone to a few of those, but this calling was very different. This was kind of a necessity. This was something that I felt that the universe was asking me to do. And again, whether I did it or not wasn't good or not good, but it was asking me to. And I can tell you that it really felt like a soul calling. And so this trip was that soul calling and mission accomplished. And when this time was done, I was also given the same message of the work that you needed to do in this time is done, which is why I'm here back in Oakville right now. And of course, I'm listening carefully because nowadays I find that every step I take, I really want to be inspired by the universe or my higher self or my soul speaking to me. Some would say God speaking to me, some would say the universe. And I definitely find that it is my calling to listen to this space that's not often heard by many people, but it's certainly what I'm encouraging people to listen from. And that's what I'm helping people do, whether through grief recovery, brain retraining, or energy work. So I wanted to start with this first quotation by Thomas Paine, which says, "The world is my country, all mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion." And this is probably the quotation that defines exactly how I feel today, that I have seen in Bali, that I felt as comfortable, believe it or not, in this time, I felt as comfortable in Bali as I feel in Canada. And it's so interesting because I've definitely found the space that I'm most comfortable in Canada right now, which is right here in Oakville, Ontario. And I also felt that same comfort and that same welcome and that same love around me. Whether I feel it in Oakville or I feel it in Bali, it felt the same, which is such a beautiful experience. And I believe I was meant to experience exactly that. I spent a lot of time communicating with people about the sameness of all of us all over the world and about how this good in each of us is stemming from that same higher source of energy, that higher source of, some people may call it the void or unknown or the universe or God, and it could be ourselves just at our best. So, any of these ways of thinking of it, this is what all of us are at our core. Our essence is the same, and this is something that I spoke about a lot with various people in this past trip. And again, I will spend a little bit more time sharing these details with you later, whether through blog posts or whether through more videos. But I want you to know that I certainly know that I experienced this, that this same feeling of the unity of man and woman is literally, it's all the same. It is the essence of the best of us, that when we really connect with that within ourselves, we connect with that with the world. And when we connect that way, everyone is family. And this feels so beautiful. So I definitely know that I had this experience, and I'm having this experience as I continue my journey here in Oakville. So I also noticed that during my trip, there was something else that I felt. And this is me to begin with. So just as a side note, I know that this is my personality to begin with. And who knows how many lifetimes, how many days, how many years it has taken me to be this person. But I know that this has been part of my journey from the beginning, from what I can remember, even though I could feel kind of a draw into what other people do and do I want to be part of that, of am I wanting to be in something that I'm not in, and that sort of idea. So this whole idea of peer pressure came up again through this trip, which is so interesting. I've never actually succumbed to peer pressure, at least knowingly. I can say that there are things that I see as people having fun and I want to be part of it, and I definitely enjoy being part of social situations and sometimes parties, and I like to throw my own parties, and I like to attend different events, and but it's when my heart calls me to join in something. It's not because someone else is doing it or this person is going to be there or this person is doing this or many people are doing this. That has never been a draw for me. When there's something that calls me from my heart, I'm there. And this I noticed became even stronger through this trip for me. So whether it was the beginning of my trip or whether it was the end of my trip or during my trip, anytime when I was called for some really fun opportunity, sometimes it was to see temples or unique sites or go to a particular area that I really, really wanted to, even personally wanted to go there. And yet, because I was meditating so regularly, I was constantly getting messages of what my next step would be that is best for me and best for the people around me too. And so there were several times that I was invited to things and I was very happy to actually join in those things. And like I said, sometimes it was things that I really myself wanted to go to. But I can say that not only was I not able to go to some things at a particular point because I was very not well for a little while, and that was easy for everyone to understand that, oh, she's not feeling well, so she can't do this. So that was easy. But when I was well at the beginning of the trip and at the end of the trip, and even during most of my trip, I can tell you I had lots of lovely invitations. And sometimes it was my own wanting to do things and achieve things or achieve as in being able to say I've seen this thing or I've gone here, I've been on a trip, so I've been to all these different things that lots of people would want to go to or participate in. Yet there was nothing on this trip that I have done that hasn't been from a soul calling. So this quotation is by Richard Bach, and it says, if your happiness depends on what somebody else does, I guess you do have a problem. If your happiness depends on what somebody else does, I guess you do have a problem. And this is so important for all of us to recognize and understand through all of our lives because we know that we see peer pressure so often in teenage years and we're aware of that. But peer pressure happens at subtle and really obvious ways for all of us throughout our lives. And we can certainly do this. And I can tell you that we can probably even be quite happy just as a teenager going to a party that all the friends are going to, is happy for going and feels like part of a group. And I can say that, I guess, for a long time, I've really enjoyed my independence and really follow what my heart calls me to do. This time it was with a very conscious decision to do so. This time it was very, very noticeable for me that even at this time in my life, I am pulled towards certain things, and they do seem to call me and feel quite enjoyable if I am pulled in those directions. And yet, the biggest satisfaction, the most joy that I feel is when I'm listening to my soul. And so I don't feel that there is a problem when I'm listening to my soul. When I listen to just my mind, I can say that, yeah, in those situations, oftentimes I can think it was kind of because it was what somebody else was doing or was wanting me to do. And when I do those things, yes, there's a part of me that wants to do the same thing, but it's my mind. And it's very clear to me these days that when I'm doing things for my soul, it's a very different satisfaction. I certainly encourage this for all of us. Today, I'd love for you to make a decision for the day, for whatever you're doing. If you do it out of a sense of responsibility or a sense of pleasing someone else, because you should, if those words come up, I should do this, you know, or you can probably know that you are probably working more from your mind. And we all do this. And again, without a conscious attention to what we're doing, we act from spaces of unconscious. So this is a space that we've learned for some length of time and we just follow it naturally. And like I said, the catch is it also feels good. But, excuse me while I clear my throat. I can say that when we do things from our soul level, there is a different joy. There's a different experience when we're doing things because I'm called to do this. I'm making time to do this. And for me, I'm probably most used to this in terms of meditation, that I am so called into being regular with my meditation. And some people will feel this about prayer. Some people will feel this about the time that they spend with their family members. Some people will feel this about work and whatever it is, but it's a different space that's not out of responsibility. It's out of this satisfaction. This, I do this because this is most satisfying for me. And this is most helpful to the people around me too. It's often part and parcel of soul energy activity. And so I'd love for you to spend 5 minutes after this video and see if today you can make one decision that you know you're doing from a soul level decision, as opposed to a natural, robotic perhaps, or mechanical or regular sort of way of doing things just from our minds and that we do it. And see if you can work from that soul level. And of course, you know that I'm here to help you. If anyone wants to reach out to me, you know this is the work that I do today. And I wanted to finish with one more quotation, and this is by Paulo Coelho. And it says, "A prayer couched in the words of the soul is far more powerful than any ritual." A prayer couched in the words of the soul is far more powerful than any ritual. And here's the thing, we can do rituals, right? We can do the rituals of our daily routine as a ritual. Our responsibility to each other is a ritual. Sometimes it's actually religious rituals, which I saw many of in Bali. And there is a process of whether we're doing religious rituals or whether we're communicating with our family or friends or whether we're being called to a country or a place without any understanding of why we are being called. When we are listening to these words of the soul, it is so powerful. And I would love for each of us to experience this at least once in our lives. And I hope for myself that I can do this for more days than not in my life. And I hope that for you too, because once you know how powerful it is, it's a space we do not want to leave. And it's a space that really does help ourselves and the world around us. So today I leave you with that. I hope you'll try that for at least 5 minutes or consciously make an effort to see if you can do one decision from that soul space. I wish you a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.